Hey, good morning. It's Sunday morning here in Maryland, and it's about 06:35 hours. You can see that the sky is lightening up behind me through the window in my uh, eat-in area, and the other two occupants of the house are still asleep, from what I can understand in here. So I'm just going to talk to you a few minutes about some thoughts that I have about something that Lewis 86 brought up about independent thinking. And when he was talking about it like some sort of he was saying that if he would establish a new religion, it would be independent thinking. And that's interesting. I kind of like that myself. I'm allowing myself to be educated by this guy because I think he has a lot of good thoughts, and they're proactive thoughts. Based on some experience and footprints on the face of the earth, some traveling, reading, and some experiences of his own. And I understand exactly where he's coming from. I spent my career in a field where independent thought was highly restricted and bracketed in with certain boxes and so forth. And then you'd go contrary with it because you had various courses that you would have to take in leadership training. And they were, for instance, I think it was, I can't think of the guy's name now, but I think his name was David Coven, the 7 Principles of Highly Successful People. Coven obviously made a lot of money out of this, selling it to the United States Air Force. And it's very dynamic stuff. But one thing that I did get out of it, the one thing, the only one, because I was very suspicious of it when I was watching it, and it was probably one of the things that cracked through this thick wall of indoctrination that I had worn for quite a bit of my life, especially my working life, was the idea of a coven doing an experiment by trying to get this woman to wear somebody else's glasses and see things the way that they did. And basically what he was trying to demonstrate that that's not possible because you're not going to be able to get anybody to do that. People will only see things the way that they do. And I thought about that for a long time, and it was like a groundbreaking discovery. It was something that probably common knowledge that everybody knows. But he did some tricks with it. He did get her to wear the glasses, and when she said she couldn't see through them, he would tell her, well, of course you can. You're just not trying hard enough. You've got to think positive. You have to see through them. You can do it if you want to. In other words, she was trying to get her to adapt to the glasses and convince herself that, I am seeing through them. Well, she wouldn't, because she had developed at that moment and at that time independent thinking on this subject. And I think this is, I believe anyway, that this is the way that it happens sometimes. I don't know if I'm making any sense or not, but I believe that experiences in our lives teach us that to think independently is absolutely necessary to living. You can't survive without it. You go by what somebody else says, and jump the wrong way, you'll be crushed. I like the idea that when I take a look around me, when I see how people respond and act to each other, I want to try to ask myself, is independent, what makes a person an independent thinker? And it's very difficult to be that way because when you're around, if you want a lot of friends, you've got to think like they do and share the same ideas and values and so forth. And if you think independently, you've got to be careful, and you've got to reword it in such a way that you don't alienate yourself too much. And for me, that's been very difficult. I tend to do that very easily. So I've had to retract a lot of things and rethink my stand on things and reword it in a way so that it doesn't alienate people and drive them away, because I do want them to listen to me. And I think the way to do that is to accumulate more knowledge, internalize more knowledge, and educate myself better in how to communicate the ideas that I wish to communicate. Other than that, I really don't have much more to say about independent thinking, but I would say that also that part of independent thinking is the exposure to all sorts of opinions in all sorts of ways that they can be expressed. Reading a book rather than watching a movie is probably better. Taking some notes and whatnot. Probably got to practice what I preach a little bit more. But in taking notes and reading something difficult, something that requires a certain amount of thought while you're doing it, and that stimulates you to read further on, get some more books, and do some more reading. And of course, you got to go to work once in a while too. But that also feeds the animal that is raised by independent thought. Because once you start thinking independently, it's like an animal growing inside of you. It demands to be fed, and it gets you, and it also makes you into a person that doubts everything that you hear, especially from somebody in authority. I have to say, one of the first people I started doubting was my old chief. Began to question some of the things he did, talked to him at length about American foreign policy and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I had committed a heresy for a while, because I had followed this man and done what he had told me, carried out his programs as best I could, even when I didn't agree with them and knew that they were wrong. And then I discovered that I should never have done that to begin with, that I should have left that field of activity a long time ago. But I couldn't, because I hadn't well enough educated myself or informed myself so that I could make any kind of transition. And I'm not the kind of person that can just jump ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and try to swim back to shore or swim to a different island and try to exist there. So that's a problem that I have, something I got to work on. Hopefully this comes across all right, and I'll make another one probably tonight or tomorrow morning based on a similar subject, and we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully I'll get some comment and somebody will look at it.